Hello, America and curling fans from Canada and Newfoundland. This is Ryan with you with the latest draw of the 2022 MoPac mixed Playdowns, mixed team Playdowns. I might have some guests join me in the booth if they want. So this is a clip-on mic. So if you just want to clip it to your lapel and you can talk, and then if you want to share, maybe just kind of like pass it to each other. So it's on. Yeah, there you go. So it looks like Team Mendoza is going first, which means Howells has the hammer, which is the case. And then on the other sheet, we have a game between Team Stephanie of Wine Country Curling and Team Siggins of Coyotes Curling Club. And then there's two teams that have a bye, and they are two big teams. They are the number one team, undefeated through the round robin. Team, I want to do it right, Team Maxey. Team Maxey was undefeated through the round robin. And then Team McDonald, skipped by a young Andy McDonald, went 4-1. And so they're finished with the round robin, but they are going to go to a tiebreaker because of a rule where you can stay in competition as long as you don't have two losses during the round robin. And in this case, that's what happened. So now we are going to be joined in the broadcast booth by a gentleman. Could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, Dan Burish, and I curl out of the Capital Curling Club in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Oh, terrific.
And curl on Team Maxey.
So you are on Team Maxey. That's terrific. You're not wearing your uniforms and you're not on the ice, so it was hard for me to recognize you.
Right.
And so you're kind of a curling duo with a partner. Is that correct?
Yeah, Michelle Wagner and I are both out of the Capital Curling Club out of Bismarck, and we do a lot of curling on the road together. And we're excited to be curling in the MoPac this year.
So what I think I read on your bio that almost 60 bonspiels together and almost 50,000 miles.
Yeah, this is our 61st event on the road, counting bonspiels and playdowns. And yeah, I think it was last weekend we curled in the Big Spiel in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, and crossed the 50,000 mile mark together. So yeah, we spent a lot of time together on the road, doing mixed doubles as well as mixed and then open competitions.
So are you fond of each other? Is that why you're doing so many bonspiels?
We put up with each other. Tolerate each other.
Well, and also, one thing that I think they talked about with mixed doubles is that you have a lot of couples doing mixed doubles, and they kind of talk about the dynamic between having a personal relationship and being able to be a competitive team on the ice. Is that something you guys have run across at all? Or?
So, yeah, we're just good friends that kind of found each other in the curling world. We used to curl against each other and in mixed, and her team always beat our team in the Dakota Territory Curling Playdowns. And she moved from Fargo to Bismarck, and kind of picked her up on the team, and she kind of found me for mixed doubles, and it's kind of gone from there.
That's true.
So yeah, we do a lot of curling together.
So, and I was trying to guess how many games you may have played together because 60 bonspiels, a 3-game minimum, that's 180 games minimum.
Yeah, and we do a couple of leagues together too, so I wouldn't even know how many to guess. You know,
where to start.
500 games together?
Sure.
I don't know. Just a guess.
So don't mind me, I'm just sharing a link to the game on our MoPac Facebook page. And also just looking at the action just to see what's going on.
Yeah, it looks like the Howells-Mendoza game. They're playing it very safe in the first end here, just a lot of hits and nobody really taking a gamble in the first end.
So right now it is Mendoza. No, it's Howells sitting. No, it's Mendoza sitting the one red in the just off the button. And yeah, it is a very open house right now.
And that's a smart way to play the first end. It's kind of, until you figure out the ice, it's a little risky to junk it up sometimes in the first end. You can give up a big end and kind of get in trouble early and have issues, and soon issues lead to problems. You know?
Well, and sometimes I think teams have been a balance of being the conservative, trying to feel the ice, and then it's like we're going to go for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's paid off.
It can pay off big, one way or the other. Sometimes it's the wrong way.
Well, and I'm happy that you guys are here. I know you have a bye, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, along with Team McDonald's. Although I do think that you guys are helping with the timing for this game, if that's correct.
We have timing, yep. Gabrielle and Fred are both timing on the other end. And meanwhile, I think Team McDonald is probably relaxing and laying back and resting like they should.
Yeah. Oh, we have an early day tomorrow.
Yeah, 8 o'clock start. So yeah, I'm sure they're doing it wise tonight and preparing for the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's a good young team.
Yeah.
Boy, all the way, all 4 of them.
Well, and then also, like they're from different clubs, but it seems like they've had some experience together to gel, I think, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Although you did play them in the round robin. I think was that your first game, or was that McDonald's?
No, that was both of our second games.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a tight game. Came down to the last shot, and fortunately for us, we came out on the right side of that. But it simply could have gone either way.
And is this your first time here at Hollywood?
It is the first time in this club, and what a beautiful facility. I'm very impressed with it. To see that there's 6 sheets here, that's nice. You know, I think every club has 4 sheets or something. They wish they had 5 or 6. So it's nice that the Southern California Curling Center was able to get 6 sheets right away.
Mm-hmm.
And the ice is great. Ice makers have done a wonderful job this weekend. Ice is fast, super fast, which is always nice for competition.
Oh, that's good. Good. And then, so for your club, I mean, one thing that we don't. I mean, a lot of people outside the Dakotas don't really realize that there is a decent amount of curling up there. From my understanding.
Yeah. So the North Dakota has, I suppose maybe 11 clubs, and it's part of the Dakota Territory Curling Association, which is made up of North Dakota, South Dakota, and Montana. And South Dakota and Montana are just kind of getting going with their curling in the last decade here or so. Both of those states, all of the clubs are arena curling at the moment, but with plans to get dedicated ice like here in Southern California Curling Center. So there's a lot of excitement in the Dakota Territories, and a lot of young curlers coming in, so I'm pretty excited to have that. We have a 5U regional playdown, and then this weekend we have the Dakota Territory Men's and Women's Club going on right now. So, yeah. It's getting a few rocks in play here over on the Mendoza Howells game.
Yeah. Howells, they're all wearing the same team jacket, so it's confusing me a little bit. But that was Howells, Team Howells shot. It looks like it was a tad heavy and slipping all the way through. And then I'm going to ask this as a joke, but it sounds like you speak with a native Dakotan accent.
Yeah, I've been told that before. Maybe even close to Canadian. I grew up about 40 miles from the Canadian border.
Okay.
And so probably have a little bit of that northern North Dakota accent. Yeah.
It can you can pick it up pretty easily.
Is that right?
I lived in Upper Michigan for 4 years, and a coworker when I moved to California says, "Oh, you're kind of sound a little Canadian."
Yeah.
Kind of elongating my O's and everything.
So you're a Youpie? Is that what you're called?
It was a Youper. I wasn't born there, and so there's a debate on it's like, are you really a Youper if you're not born in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan?
Well, sure you are.
Well, I definitely know I'm not a troll.
I'm not familiar with that.
So there's the Upper Peninsula and the Lower Peninsula, and they built the Mackinac Bridge between the two. And so if you live under the bridge, you're a troll.
Ah, okay.
So that was
Like a real troll.
that was clever. So this is Team Howells' next shots. Let's maybe coming up a smidge on the light side.
A little bit late.
They were going hard. Team Howells has 2 junior members on their team this weekend.
Yeah, and they've been playing really well. When we played against them, I was impressed. I was told they didn't have a lot of curling experience, but
just about a year.
Is that all? Yeah, in the forum, they come out just solid, and they're going to be really good curlers.
And the father, who is right next to us, was telling us that they had about just under a year of experience, or around a year of experience, and this is their first like extended competition of any kind.
Oh, well, they look like they're well prepared. They've obviously put in some ice time in this last week. They look really good.
And there's something to be said for encouraging youth curling, because the flexibility is easier to acquire, I suppose.
Yeah, we strongly encourage. The younger you can start, the better. We have a strong kids curl program back at our home club with how many members, Michelle?
Probably about 200, I think.
200 members, yeah. So, and that's what it takes. But yeah, the earlier you can start, and some of us weren't fortunate enough to have that opportunity and started at an older age. You're right, flexibility is an issue.
Well, I started curling in my late 30s, and I have not ever really felt comfortable delivering on my broom. I use the stabilizer, or those super mean Canadians call it a crutch.
Right.
And
looks like Paul set up a nice guard in the house, kind of protecting his. Looks like he's sitting 1 right now, isn't he? The Mendoza.
it looks like one. There's that one. There's the red in the back 4 that could be close.
It's kind of hard to tell from this angle.
But this is Howells' first. And are they going to try and like kind of draw into the pocket?
I think he's going to move some rocks here. Yeah, he's a little weak on that. He could maybe pull a double out of there, or at least control the front. And there he is, controlling the front.
So Mendoza to just kind of they can't block every path.
Right. Yep. You can only guard so much, and put a nice tight guard in there. Made it a little tougher.
Yeah. And also like you're trying to always look for the plan B or pro side miss. I mean, if it taps that yellow off to the left a little, that's not the end of the world necessarily.
Right.
Although you also don't want to tap it totally open where Howells can run it into the pile at the center.
I think Paul is probably going to throw a guard over the top of that, it looks like here. Make things a little more difficult for Garnett.
So the people who are watching, if you tuned away from the NFL game, we thank you. This as they turn to see what the game is. They might have frozen tundra, but we have frozen ice, and I think it's better.
Yeah.
Although Green Bay does have a curling club.
Yeah, they do have a curling club, yeah. And famous Richard Maskell curls out of the Green Bay Curling Club, and probably a lot of people listening have heard that name. He's a future Hall of Famer and had a lot of success. He won his 162nd Bonspiel last week.
Oh, wow.
Richard Maskell. Yeah. A legend.
I've heard stories, I don't know if it's about curling necessarily, but people who travel and it's just like, can I it might be curling, but it's like, can I like throw some stones on your eyes because I'm just trying to go to as many clubs as possible?
Yeah, we've tried to do that too if we're curling and close to another club like in the Twin Cities. Last weekend we were at the Big Spiel in the Twin Cities, and that's kind of an interesting event that there's 4 clubs in the Twin Cities all involved in the same tournament, so you get a chance to play in 3 or 4 of those clubs.
So it's 4 seasons. It's Chaska, Frogtown, and St. Paul.
Correct. Yep. And Lakeville is a little south of there, but they're not part of it yet. I think in the future they will be.
And Lakeville also goes by Dakota Curling?
Dakota, yeah, Dakota Curling.
Which is kind of weird because when I contacted Dakota Curling for the first time, it's like, wait, you guys are in Minnesota?
Yeah. I think they're in Dakota County.
Dakota County.
Oh, okay.
So, the Garnet is trying to play a raise there and didn't quite get it.
Wrecked on the guard.
Yep. So,
Definitely
one.
the one.
Yep, looked like one for
And
Mendoza.
that's what they gestured. So we're going to call it a steal of 1 for Mendoza. Howells carries the hammer to the second end.
Yep.
Do you want to switch mics?
No,
or?
good.
Oh.
I'll chime in.
Well, it is fairly quiet in here. We've had situations where the war room's not as big, and so sometimes teams come off the ice and everyone's talking, they're excited, and it's like, I can't hear myself talking. And if I can't hear myself, I don't know if the listeners can.
Yeah. Looks like Team Siggins scored in the first end. Do you see how they get a 4?
4.
Got a 4.
4.
That's big. That's tough to come back from, but there's 7 ends left.
Mm-hmm. If you go the distance. So that was the first rock for Team Mendoza's lead. I believe that is Jen Yamboa.
So they're looking to steal in the first by throwing that center guard. So a little aggressive. Paul's got the 1-point lead. Just looking to build on that. So throwing a nice tight guard there. Jen made a nice shot.
Oh, and this is the current lead for Team Howells. That is, this is Leslie Chi. She's a new junior curler and has been playing for about a year, as we indicated. There's a smidge on the light side, I think. It's going to get it across the line, though, the hog line.
Paul's coming in right away. He's got the high guard, low guard combo right now, so he's going to take advantage of that. Try to put a little pressure on.
So Jan Gamboa, the lead, started curling in 2007. Has been to club nationals 3 times in 9, 10, and 11. Was at the Pitt International Cup up in Canada for 2 years.
Yeah, she's a solid lead. When we played her, she was always putting the rock right where Paul was asking. She's a very good lead.
So she takes the guard, and it moves it off the center, or maybe moves it towards the center a little bit. So now the guards are not lined up. But I think, what does Howells want to do
I
here?
think he's going to come in behind that yellow corner.
I would say there's a triangle of guards, but any 3 points can make up a triangle.
And maybe a little bit tight on that one, but
Yeah.
they can use that.
And now it's a weird 4-sided.
We're building a fort.
Yeah. So now you get that many guards like that, it starts becoming first one to the pot, kind of controls the end, and so Paul's needing a rock in right now. He wants him on the top of the 4-foot, ideally behind some cover.
And this is Tim Mendoza II. He's been curling since 2007. Was at the 2012 Club Nationals, at the 2017 Mixed Nationals representing MoPac. And then he was at his club's Summer Blockbuster Bonspiel and won twice. And that Summer Blockbuster Bonspiel is coming back this summer. And it's around 4th of July weekend, and they always try to have a really good time. They try and bring in as many. They try to have like a celebrity round, I guess.
Yeah, I've heard of the event. I've yet to participate in it. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I heard about it. There's a podcast, Two Girls in a Game, and the podcast hosts who are Canadian curlers. They went. It was the year that there was earthquakes in LA. So that was a fun experience, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This is the second for Team Howells. Ahmet Ulasal.
There's a great looking shot coming in here.
Oh yeah.
Behind some cover. Yeah, it comes up just a hair light. It's getting a little messy up there, so now with 6 guards up there, it certainly does become first one in. First one of the pot wins on this end.
And that's not a bad curling strategy sometimes, is if you basically block any access to the house and you're sitting shot.
Yeah. It's a great way to steal.
And here is Tim's second shot.
Yeah, Paul didn't like that rock there, I think, so he's going to get rid of it. He's a little afraid of the maybe raise on that one, so wants to control the front.
That's a pretty wide board.
It's hanging out just a little bit there.
It's a little action on it.
Urged him on behind cover. And yeah, that happens in the early ends. You're just kind of trying to get a feel of the ice, if it's straight running or maybe a little curl and one side's different than the other. And you will have a few that just hang out a little bit sometimes like that.
So Ahmet has curled for 4 years in Houston and 7 years in Turkey. His team won 2 silver and 1 bronze medal in the Turkish league. And he was also at the European Mixed Championship in 2013.
That's a good resume.
Yeah.
He's a good curler.
Well, in Turkish, you don't necessarily think of Turkey as a curling country, but they can surprise you.
Yeah, I've been hearing that too, that they really have a good program going in Turkey right now.
So this one's just a little short again.
Yeah. Getting the feel for the ice early on. All kind of wondering, how do you get something behind that cover?
Well, and also those rocks, it's a lot of yellow. There's not a lot of red in front of the house.
Right, so nothing to raise in right now, so he's kind of thinking maybe he should open that up. And that's a little dangerous too. If you open it up and move their rocks, you give them a free path in too, and they can sit too. So it is kind of a tough decision right now for.
Well, one of those podcasters I was referring to, Mary Chivers, has a saying, it's like, you can't go wrong clearing the guard.
There you go. I like that. And that's exactly what he's doing there. Trying to control a little bit of that front. Right now, as you said, there's a lot of yellow up there, and there's not much he can do with that.
So Howells is calling for a guard. Oh, it looked like a guard, but he wants to tap.
Yeah, 2-line weight is what he's looking for.
Oh, so basically, he wants to hit the guard.
Raise it up.
Yeah.
Promotion.
Well, and one thing about younger or less experienced curlers is just making sure they have their weight dialed in. And that's I'm sure it's a challenge for all levels, but
Yes.
Don't we all wish we could have it dialed in every time? Huh?
This is the vice skip, the acting vice skip, Lexis Chi. She has the same biography as her sister, junior curler, curling about a year. And that looks like it got some action on the red.
It's going to hang on the back, just a little bit heavy.
And it goes through.
Paul's still not really sure what he wants to do. He wants to get one behind that cover, but it's a tight port. But I think they were just showing the path, so he might try to follow that one with just a little less weight. See if he can get something that's shot rock behind that cover.
This is Marissa Messier. She's been curling about 15 to 16 years, starting in 2006. And this is going to be it goes through the port. It's a smidge heavy. So Howells is trying to get it it gets it to the back of the 12.
Hung on for shot rock.
Yeah. So, but now, like as you said, the path has been shown.
Yeah, we're all trying to find that port.
So Alexis was initially the lead, and she stepped up to vice after Liza Barris had to withdraw. I think due to some of the coronavirus stuff that we've been experiencing. And that has had an impact on this tournament.
Oh, yeah. I think with everybody, those that weren't able to play, as well as those players that were, just, kind of trying to keep finding those negative tests with the requirements. But, it's the time we're in right now, and you do what you have to keep people safe and kind of stop the spread. So. But it's definitely had an impact on this tournament.
So now Messier's in the house for holding the broom for Paul Mendoza. And they're looking to line up something.
It looks like he's going to maybe try to slip one through that port. Maybe a raise or a raised takeout. Kind of hard to tell.
I think there's a red, and there's a guard that's right by his feet, and there's a red kind of where they're looking. So trying to shoot the port and raise that red into the house.
Yeah, I think he's going to come with some weight, and he's definitely coming with some weight.
Run that one right back into the yellow.
Yep.
I think is what he's looking to do.
It's to just cross nose and maybe come off that yellow rock and sit too.
Tough shot.
Yeah, that's a tough shot. Good for him if he can do it. The port's there.
It's about what, almost 2 stones wide.
Yep, I think so. It's doable. They haven't played this side yet, this end, so this is a little bit of guessing where it may go.
He's throwing a bit of pace at it.
Yep.
There's the port.
Through the port.
Just missed it.
Ooh. But he also misses the red in the back.
Yeah, it was close. He almost killed himself out. Yeah, and then sometimes you take some risks like that. And got by with one there. And they're leaving him that shot for the next one, and I bet he tries it again with just a hair less ice.
So what do you think Howells is doing? Is he going to try and raise the yellows? Or try and shoot the port again?
They've played that port a lot.
And I think they played.
Know where that line is. So
Yeah.
It's tightened up a little bit.
And she's giving him less ice.
Yeah.
This is Garnet Howells. He's been curling since the late 80s, getting his start in Edinburgh, Scotland. Or if I was a heathen Edinburgh. Howell calls the sweepers off.
Nice raise for shot. Yeah, he did get shot out of it. That's a great raise. And that's the way he's been playing all weekend. He's just been solid. You can't leave him anything. He finds a way to make it. He's just really been on fire this
Yeah, that is solidly shot rock.
And Paul knows the ice now. You're giving him the same shot twice, so say don't give a person the same shot twice, right?
Yes,
So
that's.
he'll make the adjustment here, so. It looks like about 2 inches less ice than last time, and that would do it.
Now the stones are slightly different, so there might be. I'm not saying this stone will, but sometimes they don't curl as much.
It's on his guard, and
Or they curl too much.
Almost raised one in for them, and so there's a risk. And now they can either come around to get 2, or they can play the raise. But that's a pretty big fort. I think Garnett will just draw in for 2 right now.
If you were super crazy, would you want to try and do like a heavy, hack weight draw to the back and get that red out?
Yeah, I don't
and get 3.
think so. You take your 2 here. You're up by 1. I would be. It's kind of a fairly easy deuce here. You know, that's a wide court, and the way he's been curling, he's confident with his draw. I think he'll just take his 2 and call it good.
It's
instead of a high risk.
As you said, it's early, so you don't take a higher risk unless you absolutely need to.
Yep.
Or if you maybe had a shot for 4 or 5, maybe then try the heavy draw.
Right, something that's a major game changer. Right?
So here you go. This is the hammer shot coming from Garnet Howells.
And they're sweeping it early. Yeah,
they're sweeping it.
And they're going hard.
Sweeping hard.
Right. They're working hard.
It needs to get to the full 8 foot. It's around the guards. Yeah.
Great shot.
Solid all weekend.
Now they need to go off.
And there's some great sweeping. You
Yeah,
know, they knew
shot.
they knew they had the back of the house to work with too. And They used it. That's good sweeping.
Good team shot.
So solidly a score 2. As they kick rocks.
And that's one of the things that's so great about the sport of curling. I think it's such a team sport that nobody's any better than anyone else on the team. It takes all 4. It takes a good line call by the vice. It takes great sweepers, a skip to call a good game. Not like some of the other sports, where you might have like an MVP or best in show, like you might in basketball or like dog shows or something like that, right? This takes all 4 to make a good team, and
sometimes 5.
so yeah, actually yes, that's a good point.
And a staff psychologist or psychiatrist.
Yep, and a good coach sometimes.
Sports counseling.
But and that is what's so unique about this sport is you won't win if you don't have a good lead. You won't win if you don't have a good second, etc. It's everybody is equally important on the team.
Everyone does 25% of the team's duties, but you have to do 100% of that 25%.
Right, exactly. Yep. You just won't have success without good sweepers, people that can read the rock out of the hand, knowing if they should sweep or not. I've seen a lot of games lost on line calls, so it's everyone's involved on every shot. That's kind of neat.
So that's an opening with a guard. That's a pretty common technique.
Yeah, and a high guard is good. If you're looking to steal, you need a high guard and low guard, and then come behind. So it doesn't matter which order you do them. You can do the high guard first, followed by the low guard, or either way. A 1-3 guard, as I say. You get a 1-3 guard combo, you can come behind that, and you'll steal a lot of times. And Paul's looking for the corner guards, so he's looking for an aggressive end too. So now both skips kind of have a feel of the ice, and both of them are getting a little aggressive with some guards.
Well, also they're both. This is the home ice for both teams.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And so I imagine they would have had to play against each other and perhaps play with each other at some point over their years at this new facility and at the prior facility. Although I think Howells came back once this new facility opened up in Vernon, just south of Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you have teams from the same club playing each other in an event like this, they both know the strengths and weaknesses, and they both know what the other team likes or prefers, and that does change it a little bit. It becomes a little bit of a chess match, and I think that's why we're seeing a little bit of hesitation sometimes too on the calls. I think they're trying to think, well, I know they prefer this, so maybe do something a little different.
So Jen stands up behind the hack, now getting sets. And so it looks like they might be making a play on that yellow that slipped into the house.
Yep. Get a little hit, maybe flop behind the corner guard if they can.
It's going to actually tip the guard.
Yeah, more than a tick can take that.
Oh, yeah.
Go back. Free guard zone.
Yep, a free guard zone violation. Just as a reminder, you can't hit the opponent's guard stones in front of the house until after the 5th stone has been played in an end.
Can't take them out. Correct.
You can't take them out. You can take your own stone out if you feel like it's like I really don't like where the stone ended up. I want to get rid of it.
We call that the shot of shame.
Yeah. When the skip calls you to come in the house and you come up short and you have to peel your own rock. Yeah, that's never a good feeling if you're a lead and you have to do that.
No.
I've been there.
So Howells, another guard, it actually tips their high guard off to the right a little bit more.
Paul's still liking coming behind that corner, so he's not too worried about that one yet. He'll deal with it later if he needs to. If he can get some rocks behind that corner guard and kind of build an end here.
Well, this is almost shaping up like the second end where there were so many guards in play.
Yeah.
Especially actually through the entire hand.
Yeah. So both skips are being aggressive, and that's kind of nice to see. It's kind of fun. It's certainly more fun for the spectators when there's rocks in play. Excellent.
Behind
Great
cover.
shot.
Now shot. So it's Mendoza 1, Howells the second shot.
So now that 5 rocks have been thrown, anything can be peeled, and Garnett wants to get rid of that red stone that's that corner guard. So he has a lead. He doesn't want Paul to build a big end here, so he's going to kind of open that side up a little bit so he can get at that red one.
So sweepers are definitely going hard. Looks like it's going to just kind of cross the hog line, going to be about a mid guard.
I guess I missed that call. Shows what I know. That's why I don't skip.
Well, sometimes you call it. You have to kind of balance the shot that you absolutely need versus what your player can deliver.
Correct. Yeah. Let's take that into consideration.
So this next shot coming from Tim Mendoza. That's going to be a wreck on the guard. I thought it was going to get around, but it crashed.
And that opens up the hit on that on Garnett's yellow rock there on the top 12 if he wants to. So that wasn't a deal at all for it. And
So do you think also like maybe it could work to go after the red? The red is somewhat open now on the left side.
it looks like
It is open. Yeah. He's calling for another draw.
Yeah, the raise, yeah.
Raise.
I think he's raising that one that's on the top 12. He's going to try to
I can see that. That makes sense too.
push it behind some cover here and set the shot draw.
Weight needs to be good.
There's a lot of guards up front if you can get something back there.
This is coming up light again.
Kind of hung up open, yeah.
It did get over the hard line.
Yeah, it just kind of hung on them a little bit.
So I would think going after the red on the left it splits the house, and then also I guess it kind of forces a play over to the left side of the house.
Yeah.
On the other sheet, they have not posted the score.
Yeah, I've been looking for that score on the second end, but I didn't know who scored that one.
I can go yell at them. It's really great when the broadcaster goes to say, "Hey, who scored?"
They need to help us a little bit to show us the score. Hey, look at this shot coming in. That's a beauty.
Oh yeah! Wow.
And sitting too. So we came around that high yellow guard that was just left of them there. And, it was sit too. It's a little open, but it's a good shot.
Well, now there should probably be the encouragement to just throw as much weight as you feel comfortable because you want to try and hold the line.
Yeah, and it's a fast sheet right now. The ice is fast. You don't have to hit these with super weight. They're going out. It's kind of a
Oh wow!
fortunate wick off of that guard. And, that changes the end right there. Those are kind of tough. I'm sure Paul's looking at it, wondering how to get that one out now. And that happens when there's that many guards up there. Sometimes if you get a little wide or a little tight or something, you can wick off of something. And every now and then, good things happen.
So do you think? Okay, so he has a broom down.
I think he's going to try to come in there around his red guard yet. I think he just realized he's not throwing yet.
That happens too.
A little embarrassing. Oops, not my rock. There's still 3 here. That's where the skip blames the vice and says, "Why did you come down?" You're throwing 2.
So do you think there could possibly be a hit and roll on that yellow that's now shot rock?
I think he's going to try to do something with it there. He thinks he can get around his red.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if it's curling that much, but it might be. It's a pretty high guard up there.
Mm-hmm.
So he might be able to get to it.
And Marissa Messier is underway. So it looks like it's
That's a beauty shot.
Great shot.
it does hit and roll towards the center.
And Marissa's been throwing like that all weekend. She's had a very solid weekend here at mixed championships.
Rock might be at 20% open, but given the still levels, I don't know if they want to try and chip that out or.
It's a tough one to get to.
They could do maybe a heavy draw and raise the yellow into the house.
There's a lot of cover up there right now and high guards too.
That's true.
Move, but yeah, we have to try to figure out how to something.
Well, and Howells does not have the hammer this end.
Right. Yeah. Paul set up a nice end. Used the corner well. Trying to get his deuce back if he can, and anytime you have the hammer, you want to try to get 2 or more if you can. Right now, Paul is sitting 2. And that's going to move a rock here. He's going to try to play a raise.
So Ahmed was a little off balance, but it doesn't look like he burned the rock. It does wreck on the guard. And there was a bit of a traffic jam as Marissa, I think, wanted to try and maybe sweep one of the Mendoza stones that got kicked into motion. But it looked like the play had kind of stopped before she had a chance to get a broom down.
They're still not posting. No, they did post something on the second end.
One.
Okay, so that's the game between sit-ins of from Coyotes Curling Club and Team Stephanie from Wine Country Curling Club. Stephanie is playing the Yellow Rocks, I believe.
Yeah, and they got 1 in the second, so they're down 4-1 after 2. But
They're sitting 2.
Yeah. Paul is going to try to draw that port, maybe raise his up a little farther, even though it's sitting number 2, he might be trying to raise a little tighter to the forefoot.
Weight looks pretty good.
The sweepers aren't on it hard, so they're waiting for it to catch a little bit and curl. And now they get on it. And it looks like it might be a pretty good shot. Chipped it on. Rolled the shooter over a little bit, so sitting maybe 3 it looks like right now. So that was a nice shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Howells is definitely kind of facing a bind right now.
Yeah, this sun's kind of getting away, and there's some issues on this one. This one's a tough one to get out of right now without giving up a bundle. But again, the way he's been throwing all weekend, I'm confident he'll find a way here. And right now, it looks like he may be playing a hit off that wing the red one and then rolling into the pot, I think. I don't know where room placement is. So this one should come with some weight. And it does.
So he wants to hit his yellow, I think, kind of to get those top 2 reds in motion. A bit unlucky.
I think Paul's still sitting 2 now, drawing for the third shot here. He's got hammer here, so it's hammer rock coming up right now.
Yeah, it did kick the red not entirely out of the house, but it kicked it to the edge of the 12-foot, so it's not likely to count.
Yeah. Just kind of minimizing some damage there. Sometimes that's all you have. You want to give up that 4 or 5 ender.
There's so much traffic in front, though. What would be a fairly straightforward draw is a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
By trying to figure the best path to the house.
There's a lot of junk out there.
So Paul Mendoza gets set. A draw for 3.
Sweepers are on it early. So either he has a little bit of a line issue or they think it's too light. They're on it pretty hard right now.
Looks like it's over curling. Okay, it's light now. It's through the ports. It's just a smidge light. Needs to be full 12, and it's not going to get there.
They tried to carry it. They jumped it right away. So
that is.
Sweepers did all they could on that to get it close, but it comes up about 2 feet short. But I think Paul will be happy with that. You know, he put some corners up, wanted some points, played it aggressively, and got his deuce back. So they take the lead 3-2 after 3.
Yeah. So we'll be back in just a moment to remind our listeners at home that the Mountain Pacific Curling Association is broadcasting this event. Live streaming of this and other regional competitions is powered by the 18 clubs and 1,500 members of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association. Our mission serves to grow curling and foster competition in Arizona, California, Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, and Utah. Visit MoPacCA.org today to find a curling club near you or for help starting a curling club in your community.
looks like on sheet number 5, Stefani got 2, stole 2. And so Siggins is up 4-3 right now. So that game tightening up a little bit after Stefani kind of digging a hole after an end. And he's
That's
back nicely.
Dan Stephanie from Wine Country. So Leslie, she got into the hack and then stepped out quickly and reset.
Sweeping that one pretty hard, so they're trying to come in behind the guard there, see if they can get it to the house. Comes up a little bit light.
Yeah.
That one, Paul's gonna maybe take a little advantage again. There's that high-low guard. It's, you get something behind that, it's kind of hard to get it out of there. Can't play raise back on it, and so anytime you get 2 guards lined up just like that, I will say, bury one behind it.
Yes, you do.
Exciting.
So the NFL game is final, and the Green Bay team. I guess I shouldn't spoil the game if people are taping it or something.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, and I don't know. NBC would appreciate us.
Yeah, commenting.
Well, it's a factual matter, but
Had a bite that
That's
a little heavy.
a little bit deep, but it may count.
Setting up a corner guard.
You think some people have TiVo'd that Green Bay game?
well, also in this day and age, like it's also Saturday night. People might be like living their lives and then come home and watch the football game. Also, you can like fast forward through all like the the setup and everything.
Yeah.
It's another high guard.
So I think what Garnett wanted there was another corner guard. He's looking at that high-low on the right side, high-low guard on the right side. It's far enough in the corner that he thinks he can use it, plus maybe use the other side. So he's got double corner guards. And that puts Paul in a little bit of trouble here because the 4-foot's wide open for Garnett's last shot right now. And so you kind of have a choice. Do you try to beat them to the house behind cover, or do you put a center guard up to block that? It's kind of a tough decision.
So it looks like he takes his own guard.
And again, we have a lot of cover. So both teams being really aggressive in this game and not keeping it clean at all. So they both like that kind of game, and that's great. That's both ways get you a win, right? Play the hit game or the draw game, and both seem to like the draw game.
Oh, those lots of rocks in play. Yeah, is an aggressive playing strategy.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is Ahmed's USL's, I think, last. Howells wants hard sweepers to go hard. So he's going to hit one of the reds. But it doesn't promote it very far, so probably no harm, no foul.
And here we get that situation with that much cover. First one to the 4-foot is going to score, it looks like. A lot of guards.
This is Tim Mendoza's last.
Sweeper's just kind of cleaning and following it, so it has plenty of weight, I think.
It's actually a little more weight than I think they needed.
Yeah.
Howells is sweeping it really hard, and it's going to go out of, well, it's going to go to the back of the house.
Yeah, they just kicked it.
Oh, they just kicked it. Okay.
Yeah, I never like it when the sweepers are walking upright following the stone. That usually means that's what Tim was looking at too. He looked a little disappointed in his throw.
Oh, that was Ahmet's. This is now Ahmet's second.
Good. Nice weight. Coming in nicely.
And the Chi sisters following the rock, they're ready to sweep, just waiting for the call from the skip. It's kind of nice to see. You know, sometimes you see sweepers just kind of floating along and not really ready, but they were right there. The room's ready, waiting for the call. They're very well schooled in curling right now. It's nice to see.
So this is Marissa Messier's first, and it does take out Howell's shot rock.
And she got a little half rock flop there, so almost behind cover. She's had a great weekend. Every time I've watched Marissa throwing, she's spot on. I think she's played in Club Nationals before too, hasn't she?
She's been to Club Nationals 3 years in a row, 2009 through 2011.
She looks very comfortable out here. She's obviously played at high levels.
So hit the guard, kind of open things up down the center a little bit more.
Paul's content with his rock on the top 8, and he's calling for a guard on it, I think. So.
Well, he's got the second in the back of the house too. This is Messier's second.
Sweepers aren't touching that one. They're thinking it might be a little bit heavy, I think. Kind of following it along.
Sometimes different paths are heavy.
That'll play.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And you get on a new path sometimes, and it'll grind, and you hit other fast tracks that have been played a few times in the rock. It surprises you and runs an extra 10. It might have been what happened to Marissa there. That double.
Oh.
And roll behind cover. That's an excellent shot. Opened it wide open for Garnett on his last shot. So that puts a little pressure on this next shot. Paul misses this. All of a sudden he's looking at giving up the couple again. And back and forth we go on this game, giving up deuces. So this is a big shot for Paul. Funny how fast it can change like that. You're sitting 3, you're feeling pretty good, and then a great shot like that by Device, and all of a sudden she gets a double, rolls behind cover, and you have issues.
And here comes Paul Mendoza. Sweepers are going now.
He's calling to be in, and maybe like a Christmas tree kind of situation here, off center guard. And it comes a little light, but it's guarding it. It's guarding shot rock. And then the back 8. Garnett doesn't look too concerned about that guard. He thinks he can get around it and hit that one out. So
Howells does have the hammer.
he's going to throw like a lightweight hit, maybe a hack weight, something like that. It looks like from the broom placement. Bump it out and get a little flop to the side. Sit 2.
So throwing takeout weight. Looks like it's through the port. Oh, it wrecks on the
just
guard.
wrecked, yeah. That one moved early. He had the sweepers on that right out of the gate, so got a little insight on that, or if it maybe grabbed something on the ice, but they were pounding that one pretty hard the whole way. And Paul's gonna try to cover that one again and somehow salvage a steal of 1.
So after this end, we will take a 4th end break of about 5 minutes. And we're going to take a breather, stretch our legs. Mourn the loss of the team that lost the football game.
Yeah, there's a lot of fans across the nation right now. Happy, a lot upset. That's the way NFL goes, huh? Oh, might be coming in here, it looks like. Sweepers have backed off of it again, so it has maybe a little more weight than he wanted. Found that fast track again that we've been talking about. So he's sitting 2, but the double is there. Garnett just has to hit it on the nose and get a deuce.
Looks like a decent amount of ice. So it's either expecting a decent amount of curl or a little less weight.
He can move 2 rocks if he wants his deuce, but yeah, that's there. He cut the ice a little bit. So, but yeah, he must be expecting it to move a little bit, like you said.
This is the last shot in the 4th end with Garnett Howells. Got the 1, got the 2.
Covered out.
That sweeping.
Yeah, that was great sweeping. He had them on early and held that line. Saved the deuce.
So we now trading juices back and forth and trading the lead. The Howells is now with a 1-point lead, 4-3, heading into the 4th end break. Looks like the other game is also in the 4th end break.
They haven't posted their score for 4th end, so.
They have not. So we're gonna we'll update the score when we come back. But right now you're listening to and watching the 2020 MoPac Mixed Team Playdowns from the Southern California Curling Center. This is Ryan Olson, joined by 2 members of Team Maxi. And we'll reintroduce each other when we come back in just a moment.
go.
Rocks and clay. It looks like. Oh no, the Stiffs are just walking down to the opposite house.
The Sig and Stephanie game is back on. It looks like the first rock out was from Siggins. They're posting the score from the fourth end. They got a big end. They got a 4-ender in the fourth. So Siggins goes up 8-3 after 4. That's a big hole to climb back from. With 4 ends, it can happen.
Well, and we're playing an 8-end game, so they have chances to affect the outcome.
Yeah, the 8-end games go so quick compared to a 10-end game.
Yeah, that's where if you dig a hole on the 8-end game, it's really hard to get back. Strategy can change to kind of a clean game. It's hard. The 10-end games, you're down by 5 or something, you still feel like you've got a chance to chip away. It's going to be a big hurdle to climb down 8-3 after 4. And it looks like Team Howells is going aggressive again with a high guard, and I think he'll do that high guard, low guard combo again and try to get something behind it. That seems to be the strategy of both skips. Very aggressive on this game.
Here comes the first shot from Jan Gamboa for Team Mendoza. And it looks like it's going to be a cornerish guard.
Yeah, kind of on the edge of the 4 foot there, but again, here we are. Here we're guarding up again, right?
Yeah.
We've seen this all 4 ends where both skips like the guard game, they like to be aggressive.
So just to reset real quick, you are tuned into the 2022 MoPac Mixed Team Playdowns. This is the last game of the round robin. Our feature game is a Battle of Hollywood, featuring Team Howells. They're playing the Yellow Rocks versus Mendoza playing the Red. This is your announcer Ryan Olson, being joined by 2 members of Team Maxi, including Dan Baresh and Michelle Wagner.
Yep.
And it's just very glad to have you guys in the virtual booth, as it were.
Yeah, this is fun. Enjoying this. This has been a really good game. You know, again, as we said, both skips playing that guard game and trying to get something behind the cover. Again, it's a very aggressive game. Looking to score. Both skips playing that same. And it's been fun. It's been a fun game to watch because there's a lot of rocks in play. And some of those others where the teams play conservatively and just keep hitting and hitting, they're not so fun for the spectators. So it's kind of fun.
So it looks like another guard was put into play. All right, those are definitely Christmas tree guards.
Yes, they are, yeah. And so, that's a good guard. They're hard to kind of move both of them, or if you can get something behind them, it's really good cover to have that little Christmas tree in there. So, shaped like a Christmas tree, right?
Yep.
Top one is they're staggered as we go toward the house. Yeah.
And this is Ahmet's Ueshal's first.
Coming in right behind the guard. That's going to use that guard to throw a nice high guard with the leads rocks, and they're using them.
Well, that was the second. No, it was this first.
Yeah, I believe this is first.
Sometimes the reds look like yellows.
Yeah, it's a little hard to tell. Our seats are a little bit far away from the sheet that's the featured game tonight, so sometimes it's a little hard to see the shot rock.
That start coming from Tim Mendoza. This one has a bit more weight behind it. It's one, jams on the yellow in the house.
He was hoping to get a double there, but he got the straight jam.
Mm-hmm.
Garnett looking to, he likes where that rock is, right in front of the pin. He's got cover on it, so he's going to throw up some more guards and make life tough for Paul. Next rock, one guard.
Well, I definitely appreciate you guys being here. You guys have a early morning game tomorrow.
We do, yeah, against Team McDonald, a really tough team. Some young curlers. Wine Country, one from Capital Curling Club in Bismarck, and one from Coyote Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a good team, and it'll be a tough game tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
I think I'm pulling that up real quick. I think one of them is from maybe Silicon Valley, but I'm double checking. No, Wine Country, you're right.
They're both from Wine Country.
No, Wine Country, Coyotes, and Capital.
Yeah. And since we're from Capital Curling Club, we're familiar with Ella Fleming, who came out here to curl with that team. She's a good young curler, curls in the juniors, U18 programs, and she's been curling for a few years now. Certainly one of the top junior curlers coming out of Bismarck.
And that's one of the nice things about growing the game of curling, is that there's opportunities for junior curling. I know MoPac is definitely working to invest the resources and the time to make juniors happen. I was talking with Patrick McDonald. He was helping broadcast the morning game, and he's been taking the lead in a lot of juniors. And part of this is his daughter's in the program.
Yep.
Although it sounds like it's her last year for U21.
Yep. Well, he's coached her well. She's certainly a good curler, and a lot of fun. Just a nice person on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes I haven't seen it happen a lot at curling, but if you kind of grow up into something, you don't necessarily approach it with like the courtesy that you would if you were new to the sport or new to a practice. You maybe kind of make and I'm not saying it happens in curling, but people might be a little bit more presumptuous if you grew up in it.
I think one of the beauties of curling is you meet so many people, and just wonderful people. Michelle and I often talk about, if there's anywhere in North Dakota where a car breaks down or something, the first people we'd call are curlers, right? And it can be from any town in North Dakota almost. I think it just kind of holds true. Curlers are just good people for the most part. It makes the sport fun. You have your on-ice rivalries, but as soon as the game's over, you sit down and chat and have a good time. And that's the way it should be.
I guess it's changed a little bit as the presence in the Olympics has amped up the competitive nature of the sport.
It has. Yeah.
But a lot of people do know when to let their hair down.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be competitive on the ice. Play hard, work hard. But, when the game's over, it's over. Let's go socialize and be nice people, And
So it's like, yeah. Paul Mendoza is wanting to start to clear some of the scars. It's a mess out there.
It is a mess. And I think we've said this all 4 ends. Here we go, in number 5. 6 rocks, has 6 guards in play again. Yeah. Clean it up a little bit.
Gets one out, raises the yellow.
And that's the risk when there's that many rocks in play. Angles get funny, and sometimes another one slips in for them. That's exactly what happened. Not what Paul wanted.
And now the opportunity is there for Howells to try to close the door again.
It is. Yeah, he's set up really well to steal one for sure here.
Now, there is an angle raise available for Mendoza on the left side.
Yeah, right now that's about all he has to get shot rock if this guard goes up. You know, other than that, he can cut them to one maybe. But yeah, Garnett is sitting in a really good situation right now. If he can get that guard up. Sweepers are ready.
Howells kicks out a hat with a buttery smooth release.
A little bit of cleaning.
All that butter that he just released. No.
Not sweeping hard, but just kind of cleaning. And looks like it might be a really nice looking knot. It didn't curl up quite as much as he hoped. Yeah, it just kind of hung out there. And I think that's why the sweepers were off of it too. He's waiting for it to grab a little bit. And once it grabs and starts curling, then you can drag it and it'll keep that trajectory. But that one just kept a straight line.
So talking with Patrick McDonald, he was kind of noting the behavior of the sheet and how earlier in the tournament it was a little, it like kind of depending on where you threw it, it was either stayed flat or it grabbed and curled. Mm-hmm. And he was saying that it looked like they kind of had it fixed in the morning game, but here we are later in the day, and it seems to have maybe reverted back to form.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a straight spot there. But he threw that pretty lightweight. That should have grabbed and curled a little bit. Well, that opens the door for Paul to see if he can move some rocks now.
That crashes on the card again.
Boy, that's just... And so that one moved, so that's kind of interesting. How a guard weight didn't really move off that line, and a up weight found a curly line, I guess, and moved.
Well, also when you want to throw more weight, you usually give less ice because it doesn't have that much time to curl as much.
So Garnett again trying to seal this end up through. If he can get a center line guard, and Paul's looking, as you said, like a angle raise or something, and try to cut him to one, or maybe make a great shot and give a shot, but shot rock. The guard here will put Paul in a little bit of trouble.
So definitely guard weight again. It's not too heavy. Looks like it's going to be tight to the house.
And that's a good guard.
I think, did it maybe tap one of the guards again?
Again, I think it stayed straight.
Yeah.
And curled just enough to get a little wick off of that one and roll over on top. And protect this shot rock, and he's sitting two behind cover. He's sitting pretty good.
And might be a third biting the right edge there.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, we might be sitting three. That's a good point.
Because also like
room in front of it there, kind of blocked it.
If it was just the two, you might try and do like maybe throw a lot of weight, maybe try and make them all go out of the house and go for a blank, or at least cut the damage down to one. But with the possibility of a third shot, I think they are looking at that left side.
They are. You have to play a little bit of raise and try to maybe cut them to one. After just giving up a deuce, they don't want to give up another big end here. So.
And this would be a steal too.
Yeah, a steal of 2 or 3. So he's looking to cut some damage.
This is Paul Mendoza with his last. So the weight that he threw almost seems like a little too light to do a successful raise. It hit. Oh, that should be there.
Yeah. Cut him to one. Yeah, that's a good shot. You know, he couldn't get too aggressive there and hit it with a lot of weight, because if you miss it, then you give up the 3. So I think he was conceding 1 and saying, I'm okay with that. He's only down by 2. He still has hammer on the even number ends, so he just didn't want to give up that 2 or 3 ender and then take a big hole. So he's fine. Down 2 with hammer in the 6th. He drops the deuce. And this one, tie up, got hammer in the last.
Oh, they're about to break the board on sheet 5. In the 5th end, it looks like Team Siggins put up a 6 spot.
Yeah, and that'll happen. Sometimes you get behind by 5 or so, you have to be a little aggressive. You leave a few rocks around, and that things happen. So yeah, Siggins is up 14-3 after 5 over Stephanie.
So they call like a 5. If you score a 5-ender, like they call it like a physical.
Yeah.
If you score 6, they call it a Nigo Montoya.
Maybe. There you go.
For those that may not know, he is infamously a 6-fingered man.
Okay. I'm learning things today. I didn't know that.
I haven't seen The Princess Bride in 20 years, but Fred Savage is in it.
It's a name I haven't heard for a while either. Fred Savage. Wonder Years, right?
Yep.
Go.
The original series, they actually did a revival of sorts.
I did hear that. I've seen
I've
a couple of those.
A couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Not bad.
So this is Mendoza's first shot, and not a corner guard. He's just going to go for it into the back 12.
Yeah, so now both are in the house, and so a little bit of this end is going to be a little different than the others. I think we don't have all the guards up top, so Garnett figuring well with the 2-point lead. He doesn't mind conceding 1 here, so he's kind of playing conservative. Don't give up a big end, so he's hitting anything that's in the house. Figures if he can set 1 and 2 all the way through this end, most he can give up is 1. Just fine with that.
Now this is a big test for a newer curler. That it's hard for newer curlers to get their takeouts dialed in, and as we're seeing, it was just a little bit wide.
And especially the wingers.
The wingers are tough to get out to when you're a newer curler.
Yep.
Even when you're a 5-year curler like me.
Oh yeah, we've all missed our share of those, that's for sure.
Really got to get out to the broom on those and have a clean release.
So it looks like Mendoza want to kind of put another one a little higher up in the house.
Yep, covering that one, but in the house, and sit another one and start building it in. Looks like Jen has a good line on that one. The sweepers are working pretty hard though. I think it's going to come up a little short of the house, but they can use that as a corner guard. It's all right. It's not a bad miss. It's better than coming in a little too deep.
So mentioning that team, I want to make sure I get the names right. Maxie, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Team Maxie. Team Maxie and Team McDonald are going to be playing a tiebreaker game with the first of a potential 2. Game time is 8:30 after a practice that starts at 8.
Yeah.
And should a second game be necessary, that's going to start at 11 or...
I
think
believe it's
noon.
12 is practice.
Yeah, 12:30.
12:30, yeah.
12:30 is drop of the puck. Yeah.
Should it be necessary? So just to break down the situation, Maxie ended the round robin in the last draw with the perfect record, 5-0, which I'm sure was all due to you guys.
Well, I'm not
No.
sure about that. Hopefully we played a little bit of a role in it, but it's been a good team effort.
Yes.
So
had a pretty good weekend so far. Yeah.
5-0, a solid team effort all around. And then they will be facing off against Team McDonald, who finished round robin also in the last round with a 4-1 record. They're not tied records. Normally it would be like if you had the best record, you'd win, but we have kind of a qualification that you can't be eliminated. You can't be eliminated from the round robin unless you lose 2 games.
Right. Yeah, the 2-loss provision, and that's pretty standard with all of the USCA events, the mixed, all the regions do that for mixed as well as club playdowns. So last year in clubs, I was fortunate enough to be that team that was second place at 4-1, and we were lucky enough to beat them twice. So it can happen, and we're well aware of that. So we're gonna get home tonight, get some good rest, get good breakfast, and hopefully play well tomorrow morning. We'll have to come with our A game. The McDonald team's been playing really well,
So finally they did, Howells gets that red rock in the back of the house out.
yeah, that's been a little trouble for them there, and they got it out. That's all they needed. They didn't need to stick back there. They just needed to move that rock.
So just to further spell out the scenarios for the tiebreakers, if Maxie wins one, that's it. You guys are the champions.
Correct.
McDonald's has to win twice to prevail as the champion.
Correct. Yep.
So there's still an advantage to finishing the round robin at the top of the table.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough to win a couple. Yeah. They've done what they needed to do. They got into the finals, and Team McDonald just wants to win a couple and take home that prize. But it's tough. It's tough to get into the top two, and they've accomplished what they needed to up to this point, and I'm sure they're pretty excited about that. As we are.
And it's like climbing a ladder, because you start at the regions, and then you go to nationals, and then should you prevail at nationals, there's the worlds.
Right.
Yes.
That's pretty exciting to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a long ways off to get one more win, and then we can maybe start talking about that a little bit on our drive back to Bismarck, North Dakota tomorrow. We have a long drive. We drove out here.
1,500 miles to figure out what happened.
Oh, so that's about, what, 22 hours?
Yeah, at least 22, 24 hours, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I drove to Upper Michigan from San Diego, and that's about 40 hours, but I broke it up.
Yeah, we did it in 2 days. We'll do it in 2 days again on the way back, I think.
I'd say take the train, but the train also takes a while to get there.
Then we talked about flying out, but it's a little unpredictable. If there's a few flights canceled, your team is kind of in trouble, right?
Yeah.
If we can't get here. So we made the tough decision to jump in the old Jeep and drive across the country and see America,
Well, the other issue with driving is that you could run into bad weather too.
Yeah, and we did watch for that on our way out. I haven't looked for our way back. We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that issue when we have to.
Well, since I have you guys here, the mixed team format's a little bit different at the competitive level, in that it's mostly like all men or all women, or a mixed doubles, one of each, man, woman. But with mixed, you have two of each usually. What's it like? I mean, yeah.
Mixed, it's fun. It's just a different atmosphere when you get two females and two males playing together. Different level of competition, I think. It kind of, I don't know, I just really enjoy it.
Yeah, the mixed game's a fun game, and we've known Fred Maxey for a long time. We curled against him at nationals a couple times when we played for Dakota Territory. And so we're excited to play with Fred. And then Michelle has played with Gabrielle Coleman, our lead, at women's nationals, maybe 10 years ago or so, something like that. And so it was nice to get back together for Michelle and Gabrielle to get back together.
Are you in the book?
I might be. Yeah, maybe. Could be. I'm not sure. Hopefully, good things.
So Gabrielle Coleman wrote a book about her experience getting into curling called Breakthrough Beginner Curling.
Yes.
And it's available as an ebook wherever fine ebooks can be purchased. Most Amazon.
I'm sure she'd appreciate people to buy that. It would help fund her curling.
It's hard to make money in publishing. I don't know about her experience, but there is a gentleman named Brian Chick who wrote an oral history of Canadian curling in the modern era. Mm-hmm. And he's just kind of saying, it's like, I have to sell a lot of copies just to to get to the break-even point and stuff. So.
Right.
I got to meet Gabrielle last weekend. She flew into the Twin Cities for the big spiel, as we said, and so Fred couldn't make it to that one, but Michelle and Gabrielle and I and a really good curler out of Bismarck, Ben Sand, also curled in that event. So we had a good time in the Twin Cities. I got to meet Gabrielle and kind of get ready for this event. And yeah, she's a wonderful person, just really fun to curl with and socialize with.
So Howells is kind of in a bit of a jam this end, but it looks like he's starting to get his way out.
Yeah, he's trying to. Paul's set up really nice right now to get his two back, and you know they're kind of trading hits and that rollout. If Paul can draw one into there, he almost kind of guarantees himself getting two here. And that was it. That's why in the fifth end, why he was so concerned, just cut him to one and not give up that big end. Just, you know, you're down by two, it's not a big deal. Just do that here, maybe.
So this is
sheet though, 14-3. That's going to be a tough one to come back. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I've ever seen it before, but you're here. You may as well throw rocks, right?
Yeah.
You may as well curl. Come all the way to LA, so
it can be hard to be support for a curling event when you want to be in the curling event.
Right. That's a really good shot. He's on.
Yeah. I think they did. The sweepers worked hard on that one.
They did. They dragged that one a long ways, but good enough, right? All he needs to do is sit two. And he is. I think it's from this angle.
I would say it's on.
When I look at the sheet, I would say it's on. When I look at the camera angle here, it doesn't look like it, but it's close.
It might be overhanging like an inch.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I would, if I had to bet from here, if I was a betting man, I would say it's on.
I would agree with that.
Well, and betting has come to curling, so just lay your odds at, curledbet.ca.
Right.
That's not a real website.
No.
But it should be.
And I hope nobody's betting on this weekend's games here at MoPac.
So Howells is throwing weight at this.
Oh,
Hits one.
Oh, it needs
Gonna get
to.
it out. It's gonna hang around.
It's going to hang. Oh, it does go out.
Just go out. Okay.
And so he got what he needed. Now just drop.
I don't think it actually went all the way out, so
Not
I
out
think she
of-
put it back.
Yeah, not out of
Not
play.
out of
But
play, but out of the rings.
definitely out of the rings. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's very clearly out from this view.
That's for sure. Maybe he was thinking that was the last rock at the end and was going to clear up. But
Oh, that's also very easy to do.
Oh,
It's
absolutely. We've all done it. So, yeah, Paul just has to hit the house. Front house, back house, doesn't matter. But he's going to try to draw the pin just for confidence here and to get his draw weight down. So even though he has a full 12 foot to work with, he would prefer to hit the pin there. Now, the sweepers aren't touching it. I'd be a little nervous if I was Paul that they're not cleaning at least.
Now Tim's cleaning.
Yeah, now they're working it a little bit. So I think he's got this shot.
Now he's going hard.
Well, he's got a third sweeper coming out. Oh boy, yeah, never a doubt, never a doubt. So yeah, he got his deuce.
Yep.
And,
Back in the game.
Tie game.
Tie game.
And also Mendoza had the hammer and even ends.
great, which is nice to have.
Yeah.
And we'll see what Garnett does with that. You know, a lot of times if you can play now for a blank end, that would be ideal for Garnett. Then he has a hammer tied with, coming home with hammer. So we'll see what he does with that. If he throws a corner guard or if he tries to chip and play for the blank. A lot of different ways you can do this, right? There's more than one way to skin a coyote. Not a cow, a coyote. Shouldn't skin a cow, they're so cute.
So we're all square at 5 after 6, and they're going to get started in just about a second. But I think we wanted to take a hydration break, so we're going to hit mute for a second. And we were back. We were discussing with what type of guard that was.
Yeah, so he's throwing the guard. So Paul is trying to steal on this end, and we'll see what Garnett does. He's not throwing the corner guard, so where is it?
It's cornerish.
I'm not sure that's.
It's more center than the first guard.
I think he was calling to come in behind it. Maybe just again one of those that hung out there a little bit. Here we go again with guards and race to the 4 foot maybe. And I don't think that's ideal with Garnett might want in the 7th end. We'll see. You know, sometimes the game dictates your strategy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You hope for a blank end, but if they get some good guards up, it's kind of hard sometimes to.
Well, also if you can generate a deuce in the 7th end, you're basically forcing the other team, even with hammer, to get the deuce or more. So even having the hammer coming home, you have to play aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. And he is calling a corner guard here, so yeah, he's looking to get the 2 rather than play for a blank. That's fine. Just 1-1.
Although if all of the guards stay in front of the house and don't get into the house, it could be a blank.
Blank too, right? Just a different way to play.
Blank the hard way.
Yeah.
I think in some of the early league games I've been in, it's like when you're starting out, it's like, well, we couldn't find the house at all, so it's a blank, but we didn't want it to be.
Yeah.
Just drinking. The timers are not working over there. I don't know what happened to the clocks, but the clocks aren't working.
Wasn't the person running and wasn't.
I don't know. No, the guy running it seemed to know what he was doing, but it's just the computer wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. I don't know what happened.
You're off the hook.
So it looks like Paul is trying to play a raise on.
Yeah, looks to be a raise.
That's a nice raise.
Oh, nice shot.
It is.
Very nice shot.
Taps it behind cover.
Right behind cover.
Yeah, so now maybe look to open it up here a little bit. Make sure he doesn't give up a steal. Maybe gets lucky, gets a double and loses his shooter. Looks like that 2 yellow guards are loaded though. He could have almost played those straight back onto that red rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do a bang bang type play.
Yeah, it's loaded up. But he wants to make sure he has a path to the 4 foot. Doesn't want to give up a steal, so there's the guards. And as I said, luck out and get the double here too. That opens up a path to the 4 foot.
Also shoots one of the yellows off to the wing that could also be brought into play later in the end. So for Tim Mendoza's shots, it looks like they maybe want to try and draw around the high red corner guard and be sitting 2 perhaps.
John sweeping it.
Oh, it's heavy.
A little heavy.
And it goes out of play as Paul Mendoza gives it a gentle kick.
Looks at his brother.
Well, sometimes there's I was watching junior worlds, and one player was just like kind of a little steamed at the end of an end and kind of like was kicking the rocks to clear the sheet, and he kicked a little harder than would be necessary to clean the chute.
Yes. Sometimes get a little upset about that. Nice shot, but yeah. You know, it's
It
going to
happens.
happen,
It
right?
happens.
We all do it. See it at all levels.
So Howell's last shot opened up the front. It actually ran the yellow, it looks like, back onto the red, but it kind of ricocheted off to the left and out of play.
So Paul is sitting one right now. I'm kind of thinking, how does he make this difficult for Garnett and company?
So they're done timing, so we're going to have to sign off and head home.
You guys have someplace better to be?
Well, I don't know
Big game
about
tomorrow.
someplace better, but we do have a game to prep for tomorrow, and it's done. Thank you for letting us come in.
Of course. Thank you again for Team Maxi. This is, if you want to introduce yourselves one last time.
Yeah, Dan Barish.
And Michelle Wagner, signing off.
All right.
See you tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you on the ice.
All right, sounds good. Thanks. Good night.
And we're back here with the last few rocks of the 7th end. This is a rock coming from Lexus Chi. So now there's one rock from each team seated in the top 8 foot. And this is a shot for Marissa Messier. About the Howells rock. And it does clip it, sends the yellow out of play, and the shooter rolls through the house. And so now Howells wants to tap out that red of this shot rock. And here comes the delivery from Lexus Chi. Howells is calling the sweepers to go hard. Holding the line and taps that nose hit on the red. And that yellow sits right on top of where the red used to be. It looks like they're trading hits back and forth. So now Howells does have the opportunity to perhaps build toward a blank and then carry the hammer into the 8th and final end. This shot's coming from the skip for Team Mendoza, Paul Mendoza. This one looks like it's okay. It was curling up a bit, but it does make contact on the yellow. And now, now the sheet's wide open. Howells is going to try and draw around those corner guards, manufacture some offense, perhaps maybe to still try and get the deuce. And looking at the other game that was in action, that was Team Siggins versus Team Stephanie. It was Team Siggins that pulled out the win. They called it early. The score was rather high, and I'm not quite sure what the final was. But that was Team Siggins over Team Stephanie. So now this shot coming from Garnett Howells. Sweepers are on it early. They jumped on it. Going hard. Definitely need it for the distance. Still going. Howells was yelling his encouragement, and it looks like it's curling under those guards. And so a great team sweep there, great team shot by Team Howells. So it looks like they want to make a play on it. Mendoza does. And this is the last rock coming from Paul Mendoza. Needs to curl a little bit more. But I think it's ooh. It just kissed, it didn't kiss it, it didn't touch it, it just kind of blew right past it. So that does open the door now for Howells to get the deuce and come home with a 2-point lead possibly. So this is Garnett Howells with a draw for 2. He's going to reset, kind of have the broom moved back a bit. And now he's underway. Sweepers now going early, digging in. Looks like it's all the way there. They can probably let off now. Because it just needs to touch paint. It needs to touch the house. It does kiss off of the yellow that's in the house, rolls towards the button, and that's good enough for 2 to take a 2-point lead, 7-5 over Team Mendoza. And Mendoza has the hammer coming home. In just a moment here from the 2022 MoPac mixed team Playdowns. This broadcast is presented by authority of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Mountain Pacific Curling Association. However, if you write a description of the game and put it into a bottle and cast it adrift upon the ocean, we'll probably give you permission. Here we go, the first rock of the 8th end coming from Leslie Chi, the junior curler out of Hollywood. And that's actually going to go into the house. Going to go pretty deep, actually, to the behind the tee line. So that is a rock that Mendoza could choose to play on, but he's opting for the corner guard. Again, trying to set up a multiple point end. And this will be the first shot coming from Jen Gamboa. And this one looks like it might be going a little deeper than what they had hoped. It does settle into the top of the 12-foot on the left side. And so Howells wants Leslie to go for it and take it out. And the shot's coming down. Looks like it's coming down on the outside, and it's going to just kind of wick off of it and actually kind of rolls it toward the Howells shot on the, or actually Howells' shot kind of rolled under the Mendoza shot on the. No, I apologize. trying to recreate what happened. The Mendoza rock rolled on top of the Howells rock that was on the right side. And that's what's happening. So now it looks like Mendoza wants Gamboa to draw to the right. Shot's coming down. The weight does look to be on the heavy side. It's going to be back to the house, perhaps. It might go through. No, it's settled down. And so now there's a pocket on the right side. Howells is looking to blow it up. And so he has the broom down to kind of curl into that pocket. And that is what Ahmet Uashal has been asked to do. Oh, he falls out of hat. Oh, and he throws it away. So just a bummer of a shot there. But it does happen in curling. And he did throw it to the side so that it wouldn't necessarily damage the situation in the house. And I think that's a safe call because you wanted to hit the reds in the exact right spot to get the reds to go away, but if you were not on target, you might actually run the reds onto the yellow and make the situation worse. But now Paul Mendoza is calling for Tim Mendoza to draw into that pile again. So it looks like it's going to be above the pile. And actually, it's not really covering any rock along the tee line. And so now Ahmet has a chance for redemption. Second chance at that same shot. Comes out with a little wobble. But it does get the shot off. Howells is calling for the sweep. Looks like it's coming on the outside. It does get all three of the rocks moving that were on the tee line. One of the reds goes out. One of the reds rolls to the middle of the 12-foot, and the yellow that was there before is now on the back 12, just hanging on. So Tim Mendoza's, I think, been asked to draw. It looks like they're going to draw to the left side of the sheet and kind of split the house even further. Weight looks good. Paul Mendoza's helping with the sweep, and it's going to touch the outer 12-foot on the left side. And so Howells wants to make these reds go away. And that's what Alexis Chi has been asked to do. Going to get one. And it's going to slide by the other red, but it's also going to roll the shooter toward the left side, and that is going to outcount both of the reds, and it's now going to be sitting shots. So that looks like a good throw by Alexis Chi. So Paul Mendoza is looking to make a play on the shot rock, which is Howells is yellow. I think he needs to make sure he hits it on the right side of the rock because he doesn't want that yellow to jam on the red that's on the outer 12 foot on the left. So I think they have like a draw tap dialed in, perhaps. And this is Marissa Messier's first shot. So it looks like it's coming down. It does tap the yellow onto the red. It does jam. And so now a red is sitting 1, maybe 2. And Garnet Howells just wants to focus on the shot rock first. Although he and Ahmet are talking about it. Both teams the teams were being timed, but apparently there was a technical issue with the time clocks. So now everyone has as much time as they want. As the net shot from Alexis Chi comes down the ice, and it's going to be a takeout. It's going to hit it on the left side, and ooh. It did jam on the yellow in the back 12, but it continued to roll past it. And so now the house is pretty open with just one Mendoza stone. And Paul Mendoza, Team Mendoza needs to get a deuce to keep the game going. And so he's going to try and split the house with Marissa Messier's second shot. Sweepers are going, digging in pretty hard, and looks like Paul came out to join, and now they're both off. It looks like it's going a T-weight. It's T-weight. It's pretty good. And now you can see where the rock ended up. I'm both doing the commentary and trying to switch between the cameras, and so I apologize if I'm not quick on switching the views. I do want to make sure I'm giving you guys the best coverage that we can with the technology that we have. So Team Mendoza is now sitting 2. We're at Skips Rocks, and so basically Team Howells and Garnet Howells needs to make sure that Mendoza doesn't score 2 or 3 or more. Supers are going, it's curling a bit, but it looks like it's going to hit it on the right side. It's going to roll towards the center. And so now Mendoza wants to play on that Howells yellow, and I think they're looking at maybe rolling towards the left. Although it looks like they're also considering rolling toward the right. The shot's dialed up. And I think they want it to roll toward the right to split the rings again. And this is the first shot coming now from Paul Mendoza. It's over curling, it looks like. And it goes right past it, waving as it goes. And so now all Howells has to do is make that red in the back 12 go away, and they will have secured the win. Here we go. This is the last shot for Garnet Howells here in the 8th and final end. So they were off, scoopers were off, now they're going hard. Needs to touch it. Oh, it just kisses it. So now the door is open for Paul Mendoza to take out that yellow and secure a deuce and force an extra end. So just that quickly, the tables turned. It's a pretty dynamic situation. And this is Paul Mendoza's chance to force an extra end. Sweepers are on it now. It looks like it's a better line. It has to wait for it to touch the tee line, and they're not really able to lay a brush on it. And Mendoza's done it. He got 2. So we're going to get some bonus curling. More curling for the price of 1. As we are headed to an extra end. That was a pretty exciting turn of events. And some good shot making by both teams, and a couple misses to kind of set up that deuce. So in an extra end situation, whoever scored last throws the first stone, just like in the regular play of the game. So Howells does have the hammer coming home. So Mendoza puts up a tight center guard. And it looks like Howells wants to kind of put up a staggering center guard. And this is Leslie Chee's first shot. It looks like it's going to tap the red, and it was going to go through the house, and Howells just stopped it right away, knowing it was going to go through, and brought it back to the original position as a free guard zone violation. So it gives Team Mendoza a chance to put up another guard. And this is Jan Gamboa's second. The sweepers are cleaning. Marissa Messier is, to be precise. Now she's off of it. Just going to walk it into place. And it might get a slight bump on the guard that was already there. But those are two guards that are pretty tight to each other. And so now Garnett Howells wants Leslie Chi to put up a corner guard on the left side. This rock is curling up pretty nicely. They want it to be a guard. It's going to set into the guard zone as a middle guard. So now this game has been defined by the number of guards that have been in play at almost every end of this game. And so here we are again. I haven't seen this many guards since my trip to Buckingham Palace, which is a joke. I've never been to Buckingham Palace, but they have guards. This shot coming now from the second Tim Mendoza. And it looks like he's going to just pretty much lock another guard on top of that pile. Actually kind of knocks them around a little bit, and one of them slips into the house. And now that was the fifth rock to the end, so the free guard zone is off. And so the second for Team Howells, Ahmed Usal, is going to, I think, kind of blow things up, ideally. Howells calls the sweepers on, the Chi sisters. And now he calls them off. It looks like it's over-curling a little bit. It's going to get one of the reds out. And that's all. And the yellow is now in place of where the leftmost red was initially. So it looks like maybe Mendoza wants to put up another guard. Or maybe, as an alternative, tap the reds in sequence to push that red further into the house undercover. Sweepers are on it. So it definitely kind of looks like the double raise. Tap, tap, and the red now goes further into the house behind cover. And so now there's a possible run back for Team Howells and the second USL. His first rock over-curled a little bit. This one looked like it might be a little outside. And it is. It's going to hit the yellow guard onto the red guard and gets the red guard out of play. So it helps to improve the situation a little bit. So Howells has a couple paths to the button to raise one of the reds onto the red. And Mendoza, I think, is going to try and deny some of the more straightforward options to Team Howells. And it looks like he wants to prevent the straight run back, which does kind of lead the angle raises that Mendoza himself used earlier in the end. This is Marissa Messier's first. It's a little heavy to be a guard. And it sounds like I got some double tap action. And now the run back on the top yellow stone is still there, even though it's still a tricky shot. This is for Lexus Chi to take on. Through with a bit of weight on it. Sweepers are on it. Definitely needs to hold the line. Now they're off. It's got to actually over curl. Gets rid of that red. Gets rid of the yellow center guard. And the shooter rolled over to the right and takes one of the red guards to the right. And so now Mendoza can put up a guard, or if you wanted to, maybe do a draw tap, draw to the top of the red in the top 4, top 8, and tap that red a little further back. But the guard would also do. So Tim Mendoza was sweeping, and now he's just off. The front end's just walking it down. And it is a successful guard. And now Howells wants Lexus Chi to clean house. Or clean the front yard, shall we say. And it looks like maybe a little wide. I think they're trying to coach it over a little bit, but it's going to go through, not touching the thing. So now Mendoza can put up another guard, and they're not wasting any time to put up the guard. This is Paul Mendoza's first. Trying to set up a steal to win in the extra end. Both Jen and Tim are sweeping very hard. It looks like maybe a little wide. It's coming back, but I don't think it'll come back enough. Although it does block that draw path to the shot rock. And so for Howells, it looks like he wants to try the takeout attempt that Lexus attempted in her last shot. Trying to look to see what the best way for Howells to get to the shot rock to score the 1 and the victory. I really think the easiest way to do that is to first get rid of some of these guards in front of the house. So it looks like they got 1 red out. The shooter rolls also to the left and out of play. So effectively got rid of 1 guard. And Mendoza again is looking to kind of block possible options for Howells. You can't guard against every possible shot, but the curling conventional wisdom is to leave the other team the hardest possible shots. And so for here, for Team Mendoza, it looks like they want to put a guard kind of in front of those yellows in front of the house, and that way Howells can't do a double tab run back rays to run the yellows onto the red in the house. And so this is Paul Mendoza's last. And it's weights looks pretty good. Just needs to draw it to the top of those yellows, and does so successfully. And I think Howells kind of maybe tipped his hat a little bit. They called a timeout for the non-existent timer that's going right now.
Have the timer stop the clock.
So now Howells is facing a very tricky situation. It looks like he's positioned Lexus Chi onto the left side of the scoring area to do a pretty extreme angle raise, or an angle run back. I don't think it would be an in-off because he's not going to be able to see enough of the inside of that yellow rock. Howells wants Lexus Chi to take a little bit more ice because it needs to hit it like at about 10 o'clock on if the stone was at like a clock dial. So this is a tricky shot to run the yellow onto the red for the win. Swoopers are going hard. Leslie's digging in. Needs to hold it. It's going to hit it at about 11 o'clock. It's going.
Why was it me sweeping?
Oh my goodness. So the yellow went towards the house, but it looks like it actually was going to miss the red, and it was going towards the button. And then with some great sweeping by Marissa Messier, swept it further back to outcount swept it so that the yellow rock was too far and red scored. So Mendoza steals the win in the extra. And that was a great way to end our round robin play. Mendoza finishes with a record of 3-2, and Howells finishes with a hard-fought record of 1-4. But that is not all the curling. We have bonus curling coming tomorrow with the first of two possible doubleheaders. Tiebreakers tomorrow. The undefeated Team Maxi will take on the 4-1 Team McDonald. If McDonald wins one, they are the champions and will go to the mixed nationals. McDonald's needs to win 2 to claim that berth. That first game is going to be at 8:30 tomorrow morning. And if McDonald happens to win, we will be back at 12:30 for the sudden death game 2. So we definitely do hope that you'll join us. But for right now, ending round robin play with a great game, probably the most hard-fought game of the tournament. That was Team Mendoza stealing the win in the 9th over Team Howells. Thanks again to Team Maxi's players helping to sit in. And that was, again, digging for my notes. That was Michelle Wagner and Dan Buresh. Thank you so much to them sitting in. Thanks to Patrick McDonald for sitting in on the morning game. And hopefully we'll have someone else join me in the morning. But for now, for all of us here at MoPac and the Southern California Curling Center, this has been your announcer, Ryan Olson, saying good night and good curling.